it's impossible actually not to start thinking in terms of conspiracies when you think about those parallels with the NSU cases, when you think about the shredding of documents that took place in the NSU cases, the disappearance of documents, the disappearance of witnesses, pathologists, and yeah, the disappearance of memory in this case. I think it would be useful now, perhaps, to hear from Serdar to find out a bit more about the German court proceedings. What's possible? What happened? Because I was certainly under the impression that the German court, a German court, had ordered the police to do some more investigating. So I think it would be great if you could tell us something about that and about where the investigation has got to and what the prospects are in Germany. If that's not too tall an order, in 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, after this letter and after Eric and Hugo, it's not very easy to talk about legal, formal, boring stuff maybe. But I will try to make it very short and fast, so towards the energy, the oxygen. And I think you can ask questions and make a discussion. It's better than just listening to me. Me and my colleague Christian Noll are working for 6 years now for Erica. We started end of 2008, beginning of 2009, and yeah, that's what has happened to Jeremiah happened in 2003. The prosecutor's office closed the case after 3 months. 3 months. Everything was what in the case, or what in the file is, contains 73 pages. Now we have a lot of files, but that's more or less the proceedings. So the first investigations were only 73 pages, and that was the report of a policeman and the report of Mr. Berg, the expert, the car accident expert. Then they came to the conclusion that it was suicide. After they closed the case, Erica made a complaint against this decision to the general prosecutor. They denied. Then she went to the higher court because this is the only court who was able to force the prosecutor's office to investigate. They denied as well. Then we have the possibility to go to the constitutional court, because in decisions like that, only the higher court is the last normal court. The constitutional court is the last court of the state. And during this procedure in the constitutional court, Erica came to us in 2009. So this is the one line we have. The first investigation, let's call it the first investigation. And then we made another submission to the Constitutional Court. But at the end, they also denied our submission and the submission of the first lawyers of Erica. And then we made a submission to the European Court of Human Rights. But the result was also that they denied, that they said Germany did a mistake. We're looking only at the first line, the close of how they closed the case in 2003. During this process, when we were at the Constitutional Court, new evidences appeared, like Erica said, witness statements, where someone said to his mother, Erica mentioned the name already, that they chased him, they hit him, they took away his coat, And then we made a submission to reopen the case because of these investigations. They did. But they closed it very fast again, because they said the mother who said all this to two witnesses doesn't want to talk. So we have only these two witness statements from hearsay, and the person who maybe did this doesn't want to say anything. Maybe that's his legal right, that's okay. And an interesting sentence was at the end of this letter from the prosecutor, who said, and we can't ask Jeremiah Duggan because he's dead, who killed. I mean, if you go for this logic, you can't investigate any murder case because always the persons are unfortunately dead. So, we made a submission to the higher court after they closed this case. It was, I don't know exactly, I think it was 2012, because the decision of the verdict of the court, of the higher court, was also in December 2012. The higher court agreed totally in every point to our submission, to Erica's submission. They said what the prosecutor's office did was wrong. They closed their view to the real happenings. There are enough evidences that someone or a group chased him, and then he ran on the street and made this accident happened. That's how the court described the situation. So they immediately have to investigate, because time is running out. It was nearly 10 years at that time. We had different legal problems with time limitation and different things. And they said that it was possible that they chased him and put some names in it. And they said that they had to interview the drivers. I mean, it's also possible that they made mistakes. If it was a car accident, I will let it go. I'll let it go. Then this decision went to the prosecutor's office after 4 months. They gave the order to the Wiesbaden police department and gave it to Mr. Schächer, like Erica said, to the same policeman who investigated in the beginning, to ask this witness, or to make hearings with these witnesses. And so the investigations started with this letter from the prosecutor. It was I think in April 2013. They made a lot of witness hearings with the drivers, with some persons, with one person from the organization, and they made a very small letter to France, but and got an answer. But the mutual aid, which has to be done in situations like this, if someone lives abroad in another country, started in the first letter they sent in May 2014, so 1.5 years later. We are at that situation at the moment in Germany. We have these witness statements from the German witnesses, we don't know if they are really witnesses or someone else. And we don't have really witness statements from France. That is the case at the moment in Germany. We have a lot of problems here in this case. You asked me maybe to describe what kind of possibilities do you have. There are not so much. You only have possibilities to make submissions against the decisions of the prosecutor's office. If they close the case, or maybe if they open the case in the you're in the other position. But during these investigations, they can do nearly whatever they want. They can investigate in every direction. What we are doing at the moment in Germany is to force the investigations into some directions, to make submissions. We made 3 complaints against the prosecutors, against every prosecutor belonging to the matter that they are working too slowly, that they gave the case again, the investigations again, to Mr. Schächer, this policeman. I mean, it's clear that someone who made big mistakes in the beginning wants to cover up his mistakes. If I say, if they make mistakes, maybe there is another component in this case. In the beginning, there was this decision to close this case because the police officer, Schächer, wrote in his report that he believes and thinks that it was suicide. He had this impression, maybe, when he was there, saw the situation. He talked to the drivers, or heard from the other policemen who talked to the drivers that something like this happened, a car accident happened, and came to this conclusion very fast. They made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. They didn't make any official, formal witness hearing with the witnesses. You have to start with the driver. You have to ask him how fast he went, or what did you do? Did you see him? We have it now. I mean, in 2013 we did it. What we heard in the coroner's court were the witness statements of 2013, 10 years later, from the car drivers, and not from 2003. That makes a big difference. I mean, every one of us knows if you have to describe this scene, which happened 10 years ago, it's much different if you describe it 1 year later or 10 years later. So, no evidence, his clothes or his shoes and the sand, which was maybe plays an important role. Yes, they didn't investigate in that direction. They didn't secure this evidences or gave it to an expert to look, is there something wrong? Is it the same sand maybe with the cars? Yeah, these problems happened in the beginning. And then the prosecutor somehow closed this case. Everything what has happened afterwards was that the prosecutor's office tried, that's our possibility, tried to hide their mistakes, and still is trying to hide their mistakes, although the High Court has decided that they properly has to investigate and said that they closed their view to the real situation, the real happening. In one answer of the general prosecutor to us, after we made a complaint against the leading prosecutor of Wiesbaden, they wrote that we are investigating, we are sure that the policeman is doing his job well. We don't have any doubt that he's doing that. And as you know, the General Prosecutor's Office was against the reopening of the case. So that shows me that they are still not really want to investigate and still want to show their power and want to close the case again, maybe. Who knows? I mean, this is a good possibility. I mean, not a good, excuse me, word. I mean, don't mean good, but possibility. Yes, it's a very likely possibility. So we can ask ourselves, is that a cover-up of a situation which was influenced by a third party, or maybe a group, or is it just the motivation is just psychologically? Because after all these years working with prosecutors' offices, I mean, they want to keep them their mind always. You know, it doesn't have to be that they were influenced. It can also be that just because they are the prosecutor's office, an official authority of the state, they want to keep right till the end.
The states?
Yes. Czechia, I told you about Czechia. We have a loophole in the law in Germany, what's belonging to a state with Czechia. We don't have any paragraph or any act in the Criminal Proceeding Act that tells that you have to change a policeman when a court decides that you have to reopen the case and make it again. Because a reopening of a case, if the prosecutor's office didn't investigate, that happened only 3 or 4 times in Germany. Now, this is actually not existing, this kind of situation. It's very new. And therefore we are in a very detailed problem in the criminal law. It's a very detailed problem. It's not a big thing. This giving a police officer again the case who made a lot of mistakes. We can only make an analogy to cases like when you go to a higher court and the higher court says that the first verdict was wrong. Then they give it to another judge. We can make only this analogy, and we did it in our case, that they rejected it. And the dilemma in which Erica is, in my opinion, is that maybe either the prosecutor's office or a German court or the coroner's court is really able to come to a logical or conclusion which can resist in every step, in every court. Because in the beginning they made such big mistakes and covered it somehow up, and after these years we are not really able to solve these problems which happened in the beginning. And that shows exactly the situation. That's a real problem in which Erica is at the moment. That the big mistakes what the German authorities did in the beginning shows that Erica is not able maybe to get justice in her mind, what she thinks, what she wants. Yes, I will close it now.
Thank you very much, Serdar. That was actually extremely useful conspectus of what happened and